There comes a moment in everyone's life when we make a promise to ourselves, not a casual wish, not a passing thought, but a deep soul-level vow. It usually happens in the quiet moments, the kind where the noise of the world fades and we're left face to face with the raw truth of who we are and who we know we could become. That promise is not born from convenience, it's born from necessity. It's born from the aching awareness that the life we're living is smaller than the life we're capable of. Think about it. Every great achievement in history began with a personal vow. Not a promise made to a parent, a teacher, or society, but a private commitment made in the silence of someone's own heart. It is in that space where no one else can hear that you declare, "I will not live a life beneath my potential." That declaration may feel fragile at first, almost like a whisper. But if you hold on to it, if you repeat it, if you remind yourself of it daily, that whisper becomes a fire. The promise you make to yourself is unlike any other. We often underestimate its power because breaking our own word doesn't come with immediate punishment. If you break a promise to someone else, there are consequences. Hurt feelings, broken trust, even relationships ending. But when you break a promise to yourself, no one calls you out. No one scolds you, and that's what makes it so dangerous. You can let yourself off the hook quietly, gradually, until you wake up one day realizing you're miles away from the life you swore you would build. But here's the truth. Your future self is watching. The person you could become is standing in that future, waiting for you to deliver on what you said you would do. Every choice you make today is either a step toward that promised life or a step away from it. And if you really grasp this, if you really understand the weight of that promise, it changes the way you move through the world. Psychologically, promises hold incredible power because they anchor identity. We don't act in ways that contradict who we believe we are. If you see yourself as someone who keeps your own word, then breaking your promise isn't an option. It would feel like self-betrayal. This is why it's not enough to just want the life you promised. You have to embody the kind of person who keeps promises, even when no one is watching, even when it's hard, even when there's no immediate reward. Philosophically, the promise to yourself is the foundation of integrity. And integrity isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. It's about making sure that what you think, what you say, and what you do are not fractured pieces, but one unified whole. When you live with that kind of integrity, you move differently. You carry yourself with a quiet confidence because you know you can trust yourself. You know that when you say you'll do something, you'll follow through. That self-trust is what builds momentum. It's what transforms a fragile dream into an unshakable reality. Of course, life will try to pull you away from that promise. The world will hand you distractions, temptations, and easy exits. You will be offered shortcuts that look appealing but rob you of the growth you need. You'll be told to lower your standards, to accept less, to settle. And that's the moment you have to return to the power of your vow. You have to remind yourself, I didn't make this promise for anyone else. I made it for me, and I won't betray myself just to make life more comfortable in the short term. Here's something most people overlook. The life you promised yourself isn't just about you. It's also about the people you will impact when you rise into that higher version of yourself. The world doesn't need more people who compromise their potential. The world needs people who honor their word, people who become living examples of what is possible when you refuse to forget the vow you made in those quiet, defining moments. So the question is simple. Are you going to keep that promise, or are you going to abandon it? Will you remember why you made it, or will you let the weight of daily life bury it under excuses? Because make no mistake, the life you promised yourself will demand sacrifice. It will demand patience. It will demand resilience, but it will also reward you with a sense of fulfillment that nothing else can provide. At the end of the day, every external success, money, recognition, achievement, can come and go, but the one thing no one can take from you is the integrity of knowing you lived up to your own word. That is the ultimate measure of a life well lived, so don't treat that promise lightly. Don't let it fade into the background. Hold it close, repeat it often, let it shape your choices, let it fuel your discipline, and let it remind you in the darkest hours why you started in the first place. Because when the noise settles, when the distractions pass, and when you look in the mirror years from now, you will face one undeniable truth. Either you kept the promise or you didn't, and nothing will matter more than that. Keep the promise always. If the promise you made to yourself is the foundation, then discipline is the structure that allows it to stand. Without discipline, even the strongest vow collapses under the weight of distractions. And in today's world, distraction isn't just an occasional hurdle, it's the air we breathe. Every second, something is trying to pull your attention away, to scatter your focus, to dilute your energy. Think about it. We live in an age where everything is designed to hijack your attention. Notifications, endless scrolling, the lure of comfort, the illusion of productivity. It's not that people forget the life they promised themselves because they don't care. It's that they get trapped in 1,000 little diversions, each one harmless on its own, but devastating in accumulation. You don't lose the life you dreamed of in one dramatic moment. You lose it slowly, almost invisibly, through the daily surrender of focus. This is why discipline matters. Discipline is not about punishing yourself or living a joyless existence. It's about choosing alignment over chaos. It's the ability to say not now to what tempts you in the moment, so you can say yes later to what matters most. Every disciplined choice you make is a vote for the person you're becoming, and every undisciplined choice is a vote against it. The psychology here is clear. The human brain craves novelty and ease. Distractions offer both. They feel good because they give us small hits of dopamine, but those temporary rewards come at the expense of long-term fulfillment. Discipline, on the other hand, often feels uncomfortable in the moment, but it builds a deeper kind of satisfaction, one that compounds over time, and that's the trade most people never master. They exchange their vision for their impulses, their promise for their comfort. Philosophically, discipline is an act of freedom. That may sound paradoxical, but think about it. When you are undisciplined, you are enslaved by your impulses, by every distraction that crosses your path. But when you are disciplined, you are free. You are no longer a prisoner of every temptation. You decide, you govern yourself, and self-governance is the purest form of liberty. It's not about working harder than everyone else. It's about working with more clarity. Discipline means you can endure discomfort without collapsing, that you can stay the course when others abandon it. It means you value progress over perfection, consistency over intensity. Most people think discipline is about those grand gestures, pulling an all-nighter, making a huge sacrifice, sprinting at full speed. But real discipline is quieter. It's in the small, daily acts, waking up on time, doing the work you said you would, saying no when it would be easier to say yes. And here's the irony: those small acts of discipline, repeated over time, create massive results. But because they're so small, they're also the easiest to neglect. Nobody notices if you skip today's workout. Nobody scolds you if you procrastinate on your goals for one more evening. Nobody sees it when you choose distraction over discipline. But the absence of discipline compounds just as much as its presence does. This is why you must hold yourself accountable in silence. The world might forgive your excuses, but the life you promised yourself will not. That life demands discipline, not in bursts, but as a lifestyle. It demands that you honor your time, because wasted time is wasted potential. It demands that you resist the gravitational pull of mediocrity, because mediocrity is simply distraction accepted as normal. And let's be honest, discipline is hard. It goes against the grain of human instinct, but so does greatness. Nothing about living the life you promised yourself is meant to be easy. If it were, everyone would be living their dream, and you wouldn't feel that hunger gnawing at you. That hunger is a signal. It's your future self calling you to rise above distraction and step into discipline. When you choose discipline, you are building resilience. You are training your mind and body to act in alignment with your highest vision, not your lowest impulse. And once you begin to trust yourself in this way, something profound happens. You stop negotiating with excuses. You stop bargaining with distractions. You stop living at the mercy of your moods. You become steady, grounded, reliable, to yourself first and then to the world. So ask yourself, where are you letting distraction rob you of discipline? Where are you giving your time, your focus, your energy to things that don't serve the life you promised? And what would happen if you reclaimed that energy, if you redirected it toward building the life you vowed you would live? The truth is, the difference between the life you want and the life you have will not be decided by luck or talent. It will be decided by discipline, and every day you are casting that decision with your choices. So don't underestimate the cost of distraction. Don't treat discipline as optional. Discipline is the bridge between the promise and its fulfillment. Without it, your vow remains a dream. With it, your vow becomes destiny. Choose discipline, guard your focus, build the life you promised. If discipline is what keeps you on the path, then pain is the force that shapes you as you walk it. We live in a culture that teaches us to avoid pain at all costs, to numb it, to escape it, to pretend it doesn't exist. But the truth is, pain is not your enemy. Pain is a messenger. It's the proof that you're alive, that you're stretching beyond your limits, that you're stepping into unfamiliar territory where growth happens. Every great transformation in human history has been forged in the fire of pain. Think about it. People don't change when life is comfortable. They change when something hurts. They change when the gap between where they are and where they promised themselves they'd be becomes unbearable. Pain is the tension between the life you tolerate and the life you desire. And that tension, if you allow it, becomes the very energy that drives you forward. Psychologically, pain demands attention. It sharpens focus. It forces us to look at the cracks we'd rather ignore. Most people try to silence it with distractions, with indulgence, with denial. But when you face pain directly, when you lean into it instead of running from it, you discover something paradoxical. Pain is not just something to endure, it's something you can use. It becomes fuel. Think of pain as resistance in the gym. Without resistance, there is no strength. Without weight pressing against you, muscles never grow. In the same way, life's challenges are the weight you must lift to expand your capacity. The heavier the resistance, the stronger you become if you keep pushing. Pain, then, is not a punishment. It is preparation. It's life testing you, shaping you, equipping you to handle the greatness you said you wanted. Philosophically, pain is the teacher that reveals what comfort hides. Comfort can lull us into complacency, convincing us that we're fine where we are. But pain strips away the illusion. It tells you the truth. It reminds you that you were made for more, and that settling will cost you. Pain clarifies your priorities. When you're hurting, suddenly you realize what really matters and what doesn't. You stop wasting time on the trivial and start pursuing the essential. The problem is not pain itself, but our interpretation of it. When we see pain as a sign that we're failing, we retreat. But when we see it as evidence that we're growing, we endure. Pain is not the end of the road. It's the proof that you're on the road. It's the universe asking you, how badly do you want the life you promised yourself? If you give up at the first sting, you answer that question with weakness. But if you press on, if you channel that discomfort into determination, you answer with strength. The truth is, you will never eliminate pain from your life. You only get to choose which pain you're willing to carry. There's the pain of discipline, the pain of sacrifice, the pain of pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. Or there's the pain of regret, the pain of unfulfilled potential, the pain of looking back years from now realizing you abandoned the vow you once made. One pain shapes you, the other haunts you. Which one you carry is entirely up to you. And here's where it gets interesting. When you begin to use pain as fuel, it stops controlling you. Instead of being a victim of it, you become a student of it. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every failure becomes feedback. Every wound becomes a source of strength. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, how is this shaping me? How can I use this? That shift in perspective is where power is born. Most people want the reward without the struggle, the harvest without the planting, the victory without the fight. But the life you promised yourself doesn't work that way. It demands a price, and that price will often be paid in discomfort. But if you endure it with the right mindset, pain transforms. It stops being something you run from and starts being something you rise through. It ceases to be an obstacle and becomes a doorway. So the next time pain shows up, when the discipline feels unbearable, when the setbacks keep coming, when the weight feels too heavy, remember this: pain is not trying to break you, it is trying to build you. It is the process by which the life you promised yourself becomes possible. Do not waste your pain. Do not numb it or deny it. Channel it. Use it. Let it be the fuel that powers your commitment, the energy that pushes you through the days when motivation runs dry. Because motivation will fade, but pain, if you allow it, will keep you moving. At the end of it all, pain will ask you one question: did you use me or did you waste me? Your answer will shape everything. Turn pain into power. Let it fuel the life you promised yourself. At the end of everything, after the promise has been made, after discipline has been chosen, after pain has been endured and transformed into fuel, what remains is commitment. Not commitment in the casual sense, but an unshakable devotion to yourself, to the vow you made, to the life you swore you would live. This is the final layer, because without unwavering commitment, all the passion, all the discipline, all the pain in the world can still be abandoned. And that's where so many people fall short. They start with fire, with passion, with the best of intentions. They taste discipline for a while. They even survive hardship for a season. But then something happens. They let doubt creep in, they let fatigue win, they let circumstances dictate whether they stay loyal to themselves or not. They forget the very first rule: the promise was made to you, not to anyone else. And when you forget that, it's easy to walk away. But think about what it means to truly be committed to yourself. It means you trust your own word the way you expect others to trust theirs. It means you no longer negotiate with excuses or compromise with weakness. It means that no matter how hard it gets, no matter how lonely the road becomes, you do not abandon yourself, and that level of commitment changes everything. Psychologically, commitment is the anchor of identity. Once you commit to something, your brain begins filtering choices through that lens. Commitment simplifies life. It eliminates unnecessary options. When you are unshakably committed, you don't waste energy asking, "Should I continue?" You've already decided. You simply keep moving. That is where freedom lives, not in having endless choices, but in eliminating the ones that don't align with your highest vision. Philosophically, commitment to self is the ultimate act of integrity. Because if you can't keep your word to yourself, then who are you? You may keep promises to others, but if you betray your own vow, you live as a divided being, a life split between who you are and who you could be. And that fracture creates suffering far greater than any pain imposed by discipline or sacrifice. True peace comes from wholeness, from knowing that your thoughts, your words, and your actions are in harmony. That harmony is born from unshakable commitment. The world will test you, people will doubt you, circumstances will try to shake you, and that's why your commitment must be rooted deeper than external validation. If you need the world's applause to stay committed, you won't last. If you need constant motivation, you won't last. Commitment is not about how you feel, it's about who you decide to be. And when that decision is absolute, feelings lose their power to derail you. Consider this: every time you stand firm in your commitment, you strengthen your self-trust. You reinforce the identity of someone who does not break. That self-trust compounds. It builds momentum. Eventually, it becomes unshakable. And from that place, there is nothing you cannot withstand. No setback, no delay, no criticism can undo you. Because you no longer live at the mercy of external forces. You are governed by your own vow. Of course, this kind of commitment is rare. Most people will never taste it. They'll waver, they'll bend, they'll give themselves permission to quit when it gets too hard. And that is exactly why those who keep their promise to themselves rise above the rest. It's not that they are more talented, not that they are luckier, not that they had easier circumstances. It's that they refused to abandon themselves. They stayed when others left. They persisted when others collapsed. You must ask yourself, are you truly committed or are you merely interested? Interest fades when obstacles arise. Commitment endures them. Interest gives up when results take too long. Commitment waits as long as it takes. Interest is fragile. Commitment is unbreakable. And only one of those will deliver you to the life you promised yourself. At its core, unshakable commitment to self is a declaration of worth. It is saying, I am worthy of the life I envisioned, and I will not betray myself by settling for less. That kind of commitment transforms you. It demands that you rise to the level of your potential, not sink to the level of your excuses. It requires sacrifice, yes, but the alternative, the quiet suffering of a life unlived, is far costlier. So what will it be? Will you bend when the world pushes? Will you forget the promise when the road gets lonely? Or will you stand firm, unshaken, committed not just in words but in action, day after day, until the life you swore to yourself becomes the life you are living? Because at the end of the journey, when everything else is stripped away, the question will not be whether you dreamed, whether you hoped, whether you desired. The only question that matters is whether you kept your word. Whether you honored the life you promised yourself, and when you can look in the mirror and answer yes, that is when you will know you truly lived. Stay unshakably committed. The promise is yours. Keep it.